Hello and good afternoon to today's webinar, Scaling New Frontiers with Pimcore PaaS. So be very welcomed. I'm just checking if there are already people joining, and I guess we will start in a few, I would say in a minute. So Bernd Milovan is typing. Perfect. Hello from Bosnia. So again, probably, hello from around the world. Thank you very much for your interest in that webinar. So Milovan from Bosnia is here. So who else is here? Ruud from Netherlands. Hello. And south of France. Now now the people start to pour in from Germany, from the Netherlands. Hello from, hey, Mallorca. So happy to have you here from Mallorca. I hope the sun is shining. Patrick from Switzerland is also joining our call. Great to have you all here. I would say, and the sun is shining again in the chat, what I see of. So again, I think as we have a tight time plan actually for today, we're gonna start really soon. So today is a talk about scaling new frontiers with Pimcore PaaS, our new offering for getting really quickly started and efficiently started with the Pimcore platform on an solid global PaaS infrastructure. And today we will show you a presentation that we also already presented on the Pimcore Inspire about 1 month ago, where I think the whole crowd was listening in passion when we presented that. So thank you very much for joining. And with me today is Vincent from Platform.sh. He will be introducing himself a little bit afterwards. And also Nebojša from the Pimcore team. And those are the guys that really, have the passion for Pimcore PaaS. And, they will guide you through this whole session today. So Bernd and me will be joining the chat. So if you have any questions, we try our best to answer those questions. If there are technical questions and so on, we will, summarize those and then reply for, most of them probably a little bit later on. But now I'm waiting for Julia. Julia, should we really not kick it off?
Feel free to kick it off.
I'm feeling free to kick it off. So over to Vincent and Nebojša, and Vincent is starting, and over to you, Vincent.
Thank you, Udit. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so let's go for this technical webinar. So we'll drive you through technical aspect of Pimcore PaaS, and we'll give you a tour of the console, so the main user interface. And we also demo how to create a new branch on your project, so you can test a new feature, or we'll try to upgrade a PHP version, for instance. So let's dive in. So who we are first. So I'm Vincent. I'm 45. I'm married and father of 2. I've been in the IT for the last 23 years. I worked for a French company, French newspaper, during 19 years, first as a developer and up to a CTO of a subsidiary. And I joined Platform.sh in 2020 during COVID as a partner project manager. I'm passionate about automation, observability, and efficiency. I'll give the floor to Nebojša.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent, and thank you, Dietz, for nice intro. So my name is Nebojša. I'm 36 years old, born and raised in Banja Luka, Bosnia. And since 2021, I'm living in Austria, in Vienna. I'm within the software industry for the last 12 years. I worked a couple of different industry. I worked for CRM producers. I worked in adtech, in fintech. I also did some freelance. Yeah. In short, I've joined Pimcore last year as a software engineer. And what are my passions? You can sum it up a bit like in automation, innovation, and making things simple. So simplicity. Yeah. So yeah, Vincent, that would be the short one.
Thank you, Nebojsa. So a quick word about Platform.sh. We are a French company created in 2010. We are around 331 employees right now. Half of the employees are in North America, more or less, and the other half in Europe. But we have also people in South America, APAC, and Africa. We are covering around 19 different time zones, and it gives us the possibility to have easily a 24/7 support. We have always people ready to answer your tickets just in case. So what do we do about the product? So we are doing a PaaS, platform as a service. The goal of this PaaS is to bring peace of mind to developers. You guys, developers, you bring your code, and we bring the rest, meaning that we bring the infrastructure, we manage it, we patch it, and we monitor both your application and the infrastructure. And we will give you all the tools to package your application, to deploy it, and to observe it using metrics, for instance. So you will be able to check the CPU consumption, the RAM, the storage, and even the application performance, because you have included in the offer a Blackfire license, so you can monitor that your application is always fast. So that's basically what we do. I want to have a quick word about our main API, which is Git. Because this is really important to understand why we choose Git and why this is the main API for the PaaS. So the first reason is this is the source of truth. Both the code and the infrastructure configuration are versioned in one single repository. So with the 3 small configuration files, you will define your entire web stack. And we'll give you some example during the demo phase. Second reason is automation. A simple Git push will trigger the integrated CI/CD pipeline, and you will be able to leverage the 3 hooks that we provide to adapt this CI/CD pipeline to your own case. So the 3 hooks are the build hook for the first one. So the build hook is the phase where you will, for instance, run your Composer install. So you will be able to add all the libraries required for your app. The second hook is what we call the deploy hook. So the deploy hook runs when the application has been deployed, but the requests are still on hold, meaning that all the infrastructure is up and running, all the containers are ready, but we don't start to answer the request. And this is the perfect phase to run, for instance, database migration. Usually that's where we do it. And the last hook is the post-deploy hook. So this is after the deployment is completely finished. So after the requests have been started to be answered. And this is the place where you usually send a Slack message to say that a new deployment happens. So that's for the hooks. A third reason is immutable infrastructure. What I mean by that is that you can't change the configuration once it has been deployed. It's for the production, but also for the development environment. So if you want, let's say, change PHP ini configuration, or even Pimcore YAML configuration file, you will need to do the change on your laptop, commit the file, and push the configuration. By default, everything in the environment is read-only. You can't change anything. So that's great, because you know that no one will change a configuration file once it has been deployed on production or on environment. And it takes us to the last reason. It's auditability, because all the changes are logged. You know who did what and when. Every project comes with his Git repository, but you can choose to use it or to stay with your usual Git repo, meaning you can still use GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. And in that case, you can just use what we call the source integration, and it will interconnect your GitLab repository with the integrated Pimcore Cloud Git repo. And every time you will create, for instance, a merge request on GitLab, it will create an environment on the project with a perfect clone of the parent environment. So it can be the production. And in that case, we'll clone both the code, but also the data. So you will have a perfect byte-to-byte copy, and you will be able to test your merge request in the same way it would be on the production, but without the risk to affect the production. So that's also a great feature. A quick word about the infrastructure. So we are using a container-based infrastructure. There is no need to change anything in your code except to add the 3 small configuration file. And Platform.sh rely on a well-known open source technology. So we support currently around 10 different runtimes, from PHP to Go, Node.js, Python, Rust, Ruby, Node.js, so a lot of them, even Java. And we support also 16 different services like MongoDB, Elasticsearch, OpenSearch, MariaDB, Postgre, SQL, and a last one that we added a few months ago, just for Pimcore, is Gutenberg. So it will aid the creation of PDF, for instance. Also, I wanted to have a word about security. So just as we said a few seconds ago, by default, the file system is read-only, meaning there is no change possible once it has been deployed, but you will need to upload assets or images. And in that case, you will just define what we call moon point. And these moon point are folder where you are able to read and write files. And in that case, there are less rights, like the execution rights are removed. You can't upload a PHP file in that case and run the PHP file. So that's for security reasons. The containers are always up to date. So when you define an application, your application or your services, you will just give the major version of the runtime or the services. So let's say PHP. So you will just say, I want to run PHP 8.1 or 8.2. And on Platform.sh will always update the containers for these specific versions. So if there is a new minor PHP 8.1, when you will do your next deployment, you will benefit from this new image. So each deployment, you will have the last up-to-date container. And if there is, let's say, a 0-day security patch, in that case, we'll trigger and force a redeploy of all the projects that runs this specific version of PHP or MariaDB or what else. So we have your back around the containers. Secrets management. So we provide a way to create variables in your project. They are defined per environment. And some of those variables can be what we call sensitive. So that's basically a password, an API token, and they are hidden from the user interface and from the CLI. So you can easily manage all your API token and have different API token on production or on the development environment. We also provide an access management, so you can easily invite people to collaborate to your project with different roles. So if you need to invite, let's say, a freelancer, you can give him access just to development environment as a collaborator, so he will be able to push code, but he will just have a read-only access, for instance, to your staging and no access at all for your production. That's a configuration which is possible. You will have SSH access to all your environment as a normal user, and to access through SSH. This is not possible to do it via login or and password because it's not secure enough. So we restricted the access to SSH key and SSH certificate. So for the SSH key, you just need to upload your public key to your account. But we recommend to use the SSH certificate. So SSH certificates are generated automatically when you use the login command of the CLI, of the Pimcore-cloud command. So Pimcore-cloud login will automatically create a short-lived SSH certificate, and it will be automatically renewed in the background. So that's really great because you don't need to think about rotation of your SSH key. This is already done because the certificates are really short-lived. So that's a great feature. We support two-factor authentication, and we highly recommend you to enable it. We do encryption, so both at rest and in transit. So in transit means there is HTTPS everywhere, and we automatically generate Let's Encrypt certificate for you, and they are automatically renewed. So you don't need to think about them. And if you need to upload, or if you prefer to upload your own certificates, this is also possible. And for encryption at rest, it means that all the data are encrypted on the disk. We provide daily backups with 2 weeks retention. As we also talked a few minutes ago, we have a global and round-the-clock support. So if you open a critical ticket, it will move from agent to agent. So if you started with an agent located in Europe, it will go to an agent located in the US if the case is not closed. And we also do 24/7 monitoring. So for the infrastructure, if there is something happens, it will trigger an alert and page someone on the support team, and will have a look and fix the infrastructure issue. For the app, during the onboarding phase, you will have to provide a few URL that we will monitor. And in case one of those URL start to answer something else than 200, it will also trigger an alert. We'll have a look. And if this is an infrastructure issue, we'll take care of it. And if it's an application issue, we'll try to contact you and help you to solve it. I mean, if it requires to upsize the project on a bigger plan, we'll do it. It could be a temporary spike or something like that. So we are there to help you to have the best experience with your project. Saying that we are doing great at security is good, but we can also prove it, and we have compliance certification for that. So we are PCI DSS compliant. That's everything around credit card transactions. We are SOC 2 Tip 2 compliant. So SOC 2 Tip 2 is everything around processes and security in the company. And we are HIPAA compliant. So HIPAA is for everything around data health in the US. And we also pay a lot of attention around everything about privacy and data protection. So we are GDPR compliant and a lot of other as the California Acts or PIPEDA or even in Australia. We have currently 16 different regions. So they are located in North America, Europe, and Australia. We exclusively work with the 4 providers that are mentioned there. So AWS, GCP, Azure, and the French one, OVHcloud. So we don't own our own infrastructure. We rely on major IaaS providers. From those 16 different regions, when you will create your first project or a project, you will need to tell us where you want to host these projects. So usually there are 3 ways to answer this question. The first way is to locate this project close to your end users. So if you are If your end user are located in Austria, probably you will want to host in Germany or in our new region that we opened back in January in Switzerland. So that's the first way to do it. We have also customers that have a strong opinion about the IaaS provider, so they want to be on GCP, or they don't want to be on GCP. That's also possible. And the third way to answer this question is by using the carbon emission indicator that we provide. So for each region, you will have this value of energy grid carbon intensity. So this is tied to the way the country is currently producing the electricity. So if you plan to host in Germany, it will be less good than in Switzerland, because Switzerland is doing hydroelectric electricity compared to Germany, which is burning coal. So obviously this is less good. So that's something very important for Platform.sh, and we plan to provide more indicators per project in the future. That's really a critical topic in the company. And this is time for the demo. So I will hand over to Neboja for the first part of the demo.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent. So I will guide you through the first part of our demo, which is presenting how we want to share with you guys our PaaS offering. So just to quickly start, before we go to the documents about our PaaS offering, which are already live, you can find them on our official documentation. So we created an approach which is a bundle, and we thought that with a bundle approach or an installer, we will provide the best user experience for you guys, and that we will cover we hope that we will cover all use cases. So this bundle or an installer will bring you a set of files which will enable you to quickly utilize the full potential of Pimcore on a Platform.sh. And these set of files are highly customizable, and they provide just let's say a starting foot for you to do things you need for your projects on a Platform.sh, on a Pimcore PaaS. Yeah. So let's quickly dive into docs and how do you actually use it. We provide our Pimcore PaaS as a cloud platform for running and scaling your Pimcore applications on the top of the Platform.sh technology stack. So regarding documentation and stuff, whatever you need, you can find on the Platform.sh documents for some specific regarding CLI or some other stuff, but more on that will be mentioned in the continuing this presentation by me and by Vincent. So first you would need to familiarize yourself a bit with concepts of Platform.sh. Hopefully this presentation today will help you. And since we don't have any major differences between our Pimcore PaaS and Platform.sh, yeah, you can feel free to reference the documents. So before you start working with Pimcore PaaS, you would need a Pimcore license token and your custom Composer repository, and both of those can be found on your license certificate. If you are starting a new project, you would need to start it from a skeleton or from demo project, and to have them set up locally. And when you have them, then the second part would be to set up a PaaS bundle for yourself. So we have locally this project, which is a public demo project. So we will continuing the setup from the documents. So first, we need to configure an out token. Give me just a sec. Okay, let's open our terminal live demo. Yep. So first step. The second step would be to add a repository. Okay. Just a sec to find it. Yep. And then we can already do require Pimcore PaaS. Okay. So now Composer will bring the requirements, and we need after it one tiny detail here. So continuing the following two documents. So we need to enable the enterprise subscription tools in our bundles PHP. Okay, we will increase it a bit. Okay, like this. Okay, let's see what are the next steps. So now we already have the bundle within our project. So the next step, we can start the installer and see the files that we will have afterwards. Okay. So these are the files which have been brought by the installer. We can check them out here. So basically we have two major directories where our configuration files would be stored. And as Vincent said, everything is configured within the YAML files. We will open the three main ones. So we have applications, services, and routes. Within the applications YAML file, we have a configuration for our Pimcore application. You have the services which you would need to use. For example, we have a database, Redis, Gutenberg. Afterwards, we configure runtime, which is needed for our PHP image. And yeah, as you can see, we have some other configurations here, which is which mounts we are going to use. These configurations are for our Nginx server, for the how the files will be served, how the requests will be monitored. Also, we have currently two build hooks defined, which is two hooks defined, which is a build and deploy hook. And also you can specify if you want to have some crons or some additional workers, which are also small containers. You can specify them there. For services, we have specified here Redis, Gutenberg, database, and a storage service. And for routes, we have currently default routes set up for our Pimcore applications. Okay, let's do the next step. Yeah, I think we have gone through these files. Okay. Yeah. So currently, RabbitMQ is configured as the default transport for the Symfony Messenger. If you would like to switch it to something else, you would need to edit the following files listed here. For example, if we would like to switch back to the MySQL or to something else, you would need to edit it here. Okay. So now we will actually set up our project in the console. So basically, when you log in to your Pimcore Cloud or Pimcore PaaS product, you will see this kind of interface, and this is where you set up your stuff through the UI for Pimcore PaaS. So you have your project name, your environment. You also have some other informations, but Vincent will cover a lot of them later. I will just guide you through, for example, setting up the variables. First, we need to set up a couple of variables here. So sorry, we go here. And then we switch to our main environment. We go to the settings, then we add some variables. So for example, let's say we need app.env, which will say it will be a prod. So here we will tick build time, runtime, and inheritable variable. We need a couple of more of those. So we can use Pimcore token. We need a Pimcore token. So this one we will be used during runtime, build time, and we will make it inheritable. Okay, next one we can say loading. Okay, let's refresh. Variables, no, it's not there. Pimcore token, build time, runtime, create one. Okay. Okay, now it's there. We need MySQL username for installation. Let's choose something specific like Pimcore, and let's make it sensitive. We would need it only during runtime. Okay, let's add something else, which is admin username. We'll make it sensitive. Runtime, admin. Okay. Next one, I think we only need one more, which is admin password. Yep. Okay. Sensitive. Something hard to guess. Admin. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they are there. Let's go back to our main overview. So we have an history here, what has been done. You can also do filtering of the activities, which you see here. So if you want to see some specific events, or if you're interested in something or not interested in something, you just tick it off, and yeah, you see it here. Okay, now we have our variables. Let's see what we need to do next. Okay, so we need now to follow the setup instructions to actually connect our local repository with the Pimcore PaaS. Okay, we already have, or I already have the CLI. Let's set up a remote. So, okay, let's do a remote. Okay, and we will also add a Git repository. Okay, cool. So next step would be to add actually everything. Get commit -m. Let's say Pimcore PaaS webinar. Cool. Okay, we have everything committed. Let's push everything. Git push -u Pimcore Cloud main. This push will trigger because currently it's an empty repository on this live demo environment. So basically it will push all of the files upstream. It will start the build, and through the build file, not just the build, but it will start the entire process of pushing, then building, and afterwards the deploying. So let's wait just a bit until the process starts. Okay. Okay. So now the application has started to build. You can monitor it from the console, or if you want, you also have the logs here. See, they're there. But since this initial build process can take a bit of time because it needs to set up the container to bring all of the required dependencies and stuff, we will not wait until this ends because it can take 15 minutes or something. We can do this on the one of the instances that I already have prepared from yesterday. So we will now do just syncing the data and rebuilding the classes. So let's do it here. This is our second environment for today. As you can see, it's empty here. So let's do it. Okay, we need to sync data, which we'll do Pimcore Cloud mount. We'll do public var. So we will mount public var to public var. Okay. Yep. This will trigger an rsync. So uploading assets in this case. And the second directory that we are using is var. We keep the some other files there, which are not assets, but some classes and stuff. Need to wait a bit until rsync is done. Going. Okay. Let's now do just var to var. Okay. Yeah. Okay, just a bit more time. Getting there. But what is good to mention is, yeah, because this is rsync, it's not a SCP or something else. The after the first upload, it will just bring the changes. Yeah, it will not do a blind copy. Okay, some more. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we can also already do an SSH. To the server. So you do have an SSH access to your machine. If you need to run some commands which are using, for example, the mounts, you can do it. If you want to check logs, for example, var logs, let's say everything with log. Okay, so the logs can be also accessed via an SSH. Sorry, TMP is still being moved.
This is a live demo effect.
Yeah, it
slow
always
network.
it always takes a different turn when you do it live. Yeah. Okay, let's do also an SSH here, and we need to do an assets classes rebuild. So let's wait until this is also done. Okay, it's done. Now let's go back. Let's do a hard reload here. Yeah, now Pimcore demo is here. Current configuration says that images are done on the fly. As you see, one by one, thumbnails are generated. Let's go to backend. Monitor some logs if you want. Yeah, but this can take some time because initial load of the, I think we did admin. Initial loading can take some time because of the cache generation and those kinds of stuff. Yeah, but this is our Pimcore instance backend running on the Pimcore PaaS. Yeah, basically that's it from my side. I will give back to Vincent so he will guide you further.
Thank you, Nebojša. Okay, so let's continue. This window. Okay, so the goal for this part of the demo is to give you a tour of console, and during this tour we'll also try to upgrade the PHP version of our project and do some change, visual change. So we will change the background color of our demo, so you can see how to do it, how to do a clone, and yeah. Let's go. So this is the console. When you access console, the first thing you'll see is the a screenshot of your app. So once it has been deployed, it will take a few minutes, but this screenshot will be maintained up to date during the whole life of your project. You will find the project name, the region you are running on. So I'm running on our new Switzerland region, which is hosted on GCP. Important information is the project ID. So this project ID is used in almost all the console URL. And because Platform.sh is based on REST API, you can also use this API. So you can just go on api.pimcore.cloud, and everything will be defined there. So if you want, let's say, create a backup, so you have the payload and the parameters that you need to use, and project ID is always required. So that's an important information. So you can find it there, or you can find it in the URL on console. You'll find also what type of plan you are running on. So there are 3 plans for now on Pimcore PaaS: small, medium, and large. And it will give you different amount of resources and storage. You can find all this information on pimcore.com. There is a specific PaaS section where you can compare the different editions. So for the starter plan, so what I call right before small, there are 4 CPU for your production and 6 gig of RAM, and it increases with the different plans. And the storage is 110 for the first plan, up to 660 gig for the biggest one. So you will have this information, though the amount of storage available for the plan. So that's a quota. It doesn't mean that it's already allocated to your containers. It's up to you to allocate the right amount of storage between your DB, your Elasticsearch, and your app. So you will see that in a few seconds. The number of users that are invited to your project, the number of environment available. So right now I just have my production, my main environment, so on 2 available. And you can also buy more environment if you need. Important information is the main URL, the main domain of your project. So right now on this test project, demo project, I haven't configured a domain yet, so it has been automatically generated. So if we have a look, we can see that the domain is made by the branch name or environment name, a hash of this branch name, your project ID still, the region you are running on, and .platform.sh.site. And it will be always like that. If we create a new environment, just this part will change. So environment or branch name and the hash of this environment name. And obviously, you can also configure your own domain. No problem with that. That's the goal, to have a production domain name. As the goal of this demo is to create a clone, I will already create a clone for this project. So let's start first by getting the project on my laptop. So I will use the CLI, so Pimcore-cloud and the get command with the project ID. So it will just do a basic git clone using the integrated Git repository. In this specific case, I haven't used a GitLab or a source integration, but I could have. So it will just take a few seconds if my connection is good. Yeah, there. So to create a clone, it's quite simple. You can just call the branch command, so Pimcore Cloud branch, and I will call this new branch upgrade PHP. So by running this command, it will take a snapshot of the production of the main branch. It will restore the snapshot on a new environment, so with all the code, all the data, and we'll restart this new environment. We'll start the different containers. Usually it takes between a few seconds and a few minutes. It's not highly dependent on the amount of storage allocated. This is our technology, and this is quite fast, I would say. So we already took the snapshot, we already restored, and right now the environment is starting. So you can follow all the logs in the CLI window, but as Nebojsa said, you can also see all the logs, even if it's not you that started this this command. Everyone that has access to console can have access to all the running command and the old one. So we can check the logs here, and that's exactly the same. We can see that we are in the deployment class rebuild, so that's in sync. And once you have an existing log, you can easily download this log or share it by copying the URL. You can even point a specific line and share this line with your colleagues if you need to highlight a specific issue. So at the end of all the deployment, you will see the configuration that has been applied for this deployment to all your containers. So you will find all the container names. So we have the application, we have the worker, we have the DB, the cache, Redis, Gutenberg, and what we call the storage, which is a NFS container. And for each of them, you will have the main version, so of the runtime of the service, and its size in Platform.sh meaning, and the amount of disk. And you will also always find the different URLs that have been eventually generated. So let's go back there. So we have now a new branch, so we can see that there. We have main and we have upgrade PHP. So if we compare the two, let's go and see if it works well. So we have the main, which is this version, and we can check the PHP version we are running on. If it doesn't want to go there. Yeah, just a bit slow. Configuration. So we are running PHP 8.1. And for the new environment. So we can see that, as I said before, the domain generated is made of the branch name and its hash, and we'll be able to check the version. It should be exactly the same because it's a perfect clone. So PHP 8.1, perfect. So what we will do now is to upgrade our PHP. So for that, we'll just open our favorite editor. So we'll find in our configuration file, so the service.yaml, where you will define all your services. So we are running MariaDB, and the service is named DB. So running MariaDB 10.6 with 2 gig of disk. We're running Redis, we are running Gutenberg, and this NFS container. So if we want to upgrade our PHP version, this is in the app.platform.app.yaml configuration file, and the runtime is configured there. So type equal PHP 8.1. So we'll just upgrade to PHP 8.2. And as I want something a bit visual, I'll also change the background color of one of the CSS. So if we check with the git diff, so we just change PHP and the PHP version and the background color. So let's commit this modification. Upgrade PHP, please change background color. Let's push. So as we are pushing this new version, it will require to build a new container version based now on our PHP 8.2 image. So we'll run a new composer install, obviously, because probably we'll need different packages that are compatible with this specific PHP version. So it will take a bit of time. So during this phase, we can go back to our console and continue the tour. So on console, there is an important diagram which is there. So this is quite nice because easily you can see how is made your application all the containers that are running for your app. So there is the router, which is basically an Nginx container. So you just need to define the different route because you can have projects with multiple application container. So this is for this project a very simple Pimcore demo. But if you want to run an enterprise version of Pimcore with Mercure, you will have an additional application container running Go for Mercure. So in that case, you will have another small box there with a link to the router, and it will be for Mercure. You will find all the services, so Redis, Gutenberg, NFS, and the DB, and you will find also the worker. You can click on them and review the configuration. So for the application configuration, you will give a name, a runtime you want to run. The relationships. So relationships are very important. So the way to link your services with the application containers. For instance, if you need to run Mercure, you don't need to link Mercure with the DB or Gutenberg or even Redis. So that's a way to minimize the connection to just what is mandatory or required between the services and the app. As we are running PHP, you can easily enable the different extensions that you will need. We have also defined a few variables, so you can interact with the PHP ini variable very easily. So either by adding variables in your configuration files, or either adding variables with the variable menu in console. We'll have a look in a few. But you can also provide a PHP ini file, and in that case, we'll use it. You will define also your mount. So that's the folders that are writable. And for those mount, we are using for, I think, all of them, yes, services is storage, the NFS mount, because we want to share those mount with the worker. So that's why we used this NFS container. There is also the amount of disk allocated to the application container that doesn't count the storage that we give to the NFS container. It has its own configuration that we can see there. So he has his own 4 gig of storage allocated. If I'm going quickly on that. So there is a web section where you will define all your rewrite rules. And we have the hooks section with the build hook, where basically you are running the composer install. And we also install additional libraries like ExifTool or Poplar. There is a deploy hook. So deploy hook, as I explained, is where you will run your database migration, like this one. But this is also where you will install the Pimcore DB and initialize the Pimcore DB during the first deployment, the first run. There is a section for the crons, so you can configure crons like with the usual cron tab, and you can define your different workers. So difference between workers or crons. Crons are just tasks that runs one time at a specific channel, I would say. Worker are endless task. So they are very useful to consume queue like RabbitMQ or whatever. So we have those configuration files. So I think our deployment should be completed now. We can, yeah, it's completed. So we can first check go back. Okay, so that's still our production website. So this is still in black, and we'll just check with the CLI the PHP version, but it should not have changed. And if we refresh this branch, we can see now that the background color turned red. And we can also check using the CLI that so we can say we want to access the main environment and run Pimcore PHP-E. Oh, I could have run -v, it would be simpler. So the production is still running PHP 8.1. That's great. And if we are looking at this new branch, we are running PHP 8.2. So mission complete, I would say. We have changed our PHP version and our background color. If we want now to merge the code because everything is running as expected, there is a simple command. So we can have a look to all the CLI commands. So that's quite big. But for merging, this is just a simple Pimcore-cloud environment merge, and it will merge the new code from this specific branch into its parent. So it will trigger a new deployment, and you will have the PHP 8.2 and the red background color on the production. So with the CLI, you can do almost everything. And as I said, we are API driven. So everything that you can do with the console or with the CLI, you can do it also with the REST API. So you can interact with the activities, you can get the logs, and you can eventually, for some of them, cancel some activities. You can authenticate, you can manage your backup, create backup, restore backups. You can manage your certificate. You can take a dump of your DB, and you can also run SQL command on your DB directly. You can update your domain, so you can do a bunch of things on your environment, from branching, from accessing the logs, merging, SSH, so a lot of different possibilities. You can manage your integration, you can manage your mount, you can access the metrics, so we'll have a look right after. So different commands, this is quite powerful. So back to our console. If we have, we want to have a look quickly on the different settings. So there is a general panel where you can change the project name. You can change your time zone. This is useful for the cron. If you want to be sure the cron runs at a specific time, you need to set the right time zone. You can manage the access, so invite people to collaborate to the project. So this is quite easy. You just need to type an email like that, and you have to choose the right role you want to give to your user. So it can be just a contributor on the development, viewer on staging, and no access on production. That's perfectly possible. You can manage your certificate. So as I said, by default, we generate Let's Encrypt certificate. But if you want to upload your own, this is possible. You can configure your domain. So you still need to buy your domain to a usual DNS provider. And you will need to configure your domain with this domain provider, but will give you the CNAME that you need to use to point the domain on the right direction. We provide the deploy key, so it's a SSH public key that you will need to use if you want to access a private repository during the build. So if this private repository is important for you, you just need to take this public key and configure it on GitHub or GitLab, and we'll be able to access this private repo. We have multiple integrations, so the source integration are there. So if you want to configure a source integration, you just need to follow the instruction. Be careful, because if there is already some code in your project Git repo, it will be completely scratched and replaced by the code provided by Bitbucket, GitHub, or GitLab. We support else notification. So by default, it's by email. So if your storage is becoming full, you will receive an email, but you can also use PagerDuty, Slack, or even a else webhook. And we have also what we call the activity script. That's a way to react to platform message activities. So with a simple piece of JavaScript, you will be able, for instance, to, I don't know, send a Slack message every time someone change a variable or create a new environment or this type of thing. Talking about the variable, so that's the way to create variable, but we already saw that with Nebojsa. And we have also a few configurations that are done per environment. So you can choose to enable outgoing email. So by default, all the projects comes with a SendGrid account, so you can easily send email. You don't need to configure anything. You can send email from scratch, but by default, this is disabled on the development environment because obviously you don't want to send email to your end customer when you are doing tests, for instance. You can choose to be hidden from search engine. You can enable an access control per login password or per IP address. And yeah, that's basically it. And you can create variable or redefine variables per environment. So that's good. We can have a look on the backups quickly. So you can manage all your backup, create a backup from there or from the CLI. If you want to restore, you can restore from there. It will restore the data for the code. It's in Git, so you will have just to check out the right Git version, yeah, I would say. For the metrics, so you will find all the CPU usage, RAM consumption, and disk storage for your project from this screen or from the CLI. So you have a total there and a split per application and services right on the bottom, and you can have a look on different time frame. This is easy. You can go back in time without any issue. And the last thing we want to talk about is Blackfire. So by default, you also have a Blackfire license. So I will go on the demo website of Blackfire because I don't have a lot of usage on my demo project otherwise. So Blackfire is an application performance monitoring, which means that you will be able to monitor the response time of your application. And we all know that application must remain very fast. This is critical, especially in e-commerce. So that's the way to do it. You will have a view. So we are in the monitoring tab. You can change the time frame as usual. And you can easily spot the top transaction. So they are scored between their slowness and the number of times they are requested. So you will probably, you don't want to optimize a very slow page, which is never or almost never requested. So that's good. If you go on a specific page, you will have more information, like the different spans. So that's the important events that are in this specific page. So there are SQL requests, but you can have also API requests. We provide recommendation with a score. So for this one, for instance, or for this one, it happens on all the pages that have been profiled, and this is because display errors are enabled, and this is not a good thing. So there are explanation about all these recommendations, why this is important, and how to remediate this recommendation. There are also profiling. So there are automatic profiling, but you can also trigger your own. So for instance, if we want to profile this page, we can just use the Blackfire extension and trigger a profile. And when you go on the profile, you'll see a call graph which represents the execution of your page. And here in pink is the critical path, and with the background in pink is the part that took the most of the time. So there are different call graph. This one is for the whole time, the whole duration of the request. But if you want to focus on the IO wait, this is another call graph. If you want to focus on the CPU consumption, you can do it. If you want to zoom on the RAM consumption, you can also do it. So usually it's around the DB request. So yeah, this is the iterator object and the doctrine request. And you can also focus on the network. So that's also possible. You can list all the SQL requests that have been run. And there is also another view, which is the timeline, where you can see how the page has been rendered, and the main blocks. In blue, there is the RAM consumption. So sometimes it will be interesting to see the big gap in the RAM consumption. So that's also very powerful. You will find all the recommendation and the assertions that have been configured for this project. It's also important to know that everything is configurable via the .blackfire.yaml. So you can configure all the tests that will be run on all the profile, and you can also configure what we call a scenario. And scenario will be run when you will deploy a new version of your code in an environment or on the production. So at this time, you can create those scenarios and request Blackfire to visit specific URL, and you can create assertions, test. So here it's a very simple example. So I'm just testing that the status code is 200, but you can test almost everything. You can count the number of SQL requests. You can check the response time of this page. So you can define your performance budget and check that for each deployment, you respect this performance budget. So we talk about the monitoring. There is a health report that is a picture on the last 7 days with the top recommendation, what is currently degrading over time. So that's also important, per transaction or also per calls, so SQL request. So that's always good to know that this specific request is going slower than the previous period. So we talk about the profiles, and there are the builds. So builds are run each time you will do a deployment. So it's not enabled by default, but I highly recommend to do it and to create your own build, because it's really good to not react to the fact the website is slow, but to take empowerment and to do the checks during the development phase each time. And the last thing I wanted to highlight, there is an alerting menu, so I can go back on the main the project. So you can create rules, and you can choose if you want to be alerted for a specific response time, a specific throughput. So if you need to be aware that, I don't know, the throughput is going below a certain level, or about the memory. And for all these requests, you can choose how long the alert must last before being alerted. And there are multiple ways to be alerted. So you can be by email, by, I don't know, PagerDuty, Slack, Teams, and a lot of other ways. So that's great, because this tool gives you a lot of different ways to handle the performance of your application. I think we are a bit out of time, and yeah, I think we are done. I don't know if we have questions, Neboja?
Yes, so thanks a lot, Vincent. There is a lot to show. Yeah, a huge product, a great product that we have available with you guys from Platform.sh. We have one pending question that we couldn't answer, but you obviously should be able to help us here. And it comes from Tobias, who would like to know, where does the container registry live? If it's one per account, or if there is one per project, for example.
So that's, I mean, we have the container images are container images that we provide, and they are stored per what we call regions. But that's the images without any customer addition. When you do the build, you will add your code with this container image, and it will create a specific container just for you and just for the project. So it's per project, it's not per account. So if you have multiple projects, because you are a web agency and you develop a lot of different Pimcore projects, it will create a different container image for each of your projects.
Thanks a lot for this. And as we are already like nearly 15 minutes over time, and we don't have any questions left, I think we will thank the audience for being with us for the course of time. Thanks to you, Vincent, for the presentations and for all the details around Platform.sh and how to run Pimcore. And thank you, Neboja, for showing how to install and deploy Pimcore currently with Platform.sh. If there is any questions pending, please feel free to follow up with your team at Pimcore. I see that we have a lot of our solution partners on the call, so you know where to go to. But also feel free to reach us directly to Neboja, to Vincent, Julia, or even me. Thanks again for the time, for joining in. The recording will be available and you will be notified accordingly. And for the solution partners of ours, obviously, these recordings will also be available in the Partner Space Center in the future. So thanks a lot. Enjoy your day, and looking forward being in touch soon and having a lot of fun with the Pimcore Platform as a Service projects on Platform.sh. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Enjoy your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.